A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News 9. My name is Susan Nganga and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Mathange. We begin with the political news where tensions simmered beneath in colorful celebration in Mombasa as the Orange Democratic Movement, that is the ODM, marked its 20th anniversary. What was intended to be a moment of unity and reflection on 2 decades of political influence instead exposed emerging differences among party leaders and supporters. Let's take a look.
The iconic Mama Ngina waterfront was painted orange as thousands of supporters turned to celebrate ODM at 20. Music, dance and party memorabilia filled the venue, but behind the scenes, a quiet storm was brewing. Sources within the party indicated subtle disagreement over the future direction of ODM, particularly as leadership prepares for the 2027 political calendar. Some leaders pushed for a revamped leadership structure and faster implementation of the internal reforms, while others insisted the party must retain its traditional hierarchy and legacy pathways.
Leader, there was something that I wanted to tell you. When it came to the matter of this broad-based government, the people of ODM entrusted one person with the management of that relationship. And that person was Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. That relationship is complicated. And therefore, we are looking and we are wondering, those that are taking it upon themselves to manage it now, are they capable of managing that relationship? I don't think that is a question for me to answer.
Bei za bidhaa zikienda juu, tutaenda maandamano, wapende wasipende. La mwisho, jana niliona viongozi wetu wa ODM walipewa viti. Congratulations. Lakini wacha niwaulize swali. Wadozi, mliangalia huyu Babu Owino mkaona hawezi tosha kiti yeyote? Kwa hivyo mfikirie hiyo, youth leader na kuheshimu, lakini hapo mbele hata Babu ametosha party leader.
Despite the undercurrents, supporters maintain a celebratory mood, cheering the party's 2 decades legacy and its role in shaping the Kenya's political landscape.
In his own wisdom, mimi picha ya mwisho nikiiona ya baba, niliona baba anashikana mkono na Ruto wakiwa katika the shores of Lake Victoria, Homa Bay. Ile picha mimi nimeiona, lakini ile ambayo kwamba nimeiona mwisho kwa wale wengine ni matusi aliyetukanwa baba wakati yuko hai, matusi aliyotukanwa baba wakati amefariki, matusi ya kusema ya kwa hatuwezi kuingia na kuungana, matusi ya kuambiwa ya kwa sisi hatufai kuwa katika serikali kwa sababu sisi ni ODM. I am ashamed and I am amazed ya kwa leo katika hii jukwaa hakuna mtu aliyeinuka na kusema Gachagua, pale ambapo kwamba ulitupeleka, we will not be able to forget.
Still, the rift witnessed in Mombasa signals that ODM may need more than celebrations to unite its ranks ahead of the next political chapter. Davis Karani for GBS News.
A 3-year freeze of the National Police Service NPS recruitment came to a halt today. The independent body conducted a massive one-day nationwide recruitment drives across 427 centers following a High Court ruling that lifted an order suspending the exercise. The recruitment, targeting 10,000 police constables, began at 8 a.m. and will run until 5 p.m. marking one of the largest single-day recruitment exercises in the country's history. The exercise attracted thousands of youth across all sub-counties. Matthew Perez gives us that report.
Characterized by the traditional physical and medical examinations under the supervision of recruitment officers, today the nationwide recruitment of police constables was rolled out in 427 centers. The exercise follows a ruling by High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye, who on Friday lifted the earlier conservatory orders suspending recruitment. The drive attracted thousands of hopeful applicants as the NPS seeks to fill staffing gaps and strengthen security operations nationwide.
We want a clean exercise. An exercise to start from 8 in the morning and end at 5 in the evening. Throughout all the 427 recruitment centers, we are doing very well. And we are headed in the direction that, as I indicated, that we want to get the best from Kenya. Yeah, that's the next crop of officers to come and continue with the transformation journey of the service. Yeah.
The application to lift the suspension was filed by Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, who highlighted that a 3-year freeze in police recruitment had left the service severely understaffed, posing security threats with just 21 months to the 2027 highly awaited general elections.
Yeah, they will be there for the next 9 months, and we are set on our trajectory because we're also looking beyond recruitment. We're also looking at the 2027 when you have the general elections. These are the officers who will be on deployment to ensure that we have the right environment to allow the people of Kenya exercise their civic duty. That's the reason why at the end of the day by 5 we should be having the 10,000 police officers with us, and then from there the next phase is the training phase.
Nevertheless, the Independent Policing Oversight IPOA and the Ethics and Corruption Commission EACC warned the NPS over conducting a fraudulent process. However, earlier on, Cabinet Secretary for Defense Soipan Tuya had downplayed any corruption during recruitments, saying her ministry is committed to doing a free and fair process.
We are working very closely with other government agencies, namely the National Police Service, the DCI, the EACC, as well as the NIS, to ensure a fair, transparent, and credible process. This collaborative approach reinforces accountability and ensures the highest standards of integrity.
Matthew Perez for GBS News.
Kenya is now at the center of global refugee protection. President William Ruto has officially opened a major international conference of refugee and migration judges, the first time the event is being held in Africa. The president has called for fairness, courage, and independence in all decisions affecting displaced people. Let's take a listen. Kenya has taken center stage in global refugee protection after President William Ruto officially opened the 14th World Conference of the International Association and Migration Judges in Nairobi, the first time the prestigious gathering is being held on African soil. More than 200 judges, legal scholars, and migration law experts from across the world are attending the week-long forum, which focuses on strengthening justice systems that serve refugees and migrants. Speaking at the opening ceremony, President Ruto urged judges to uphold fairness, courage, and independence, warning that their decisions carry life-changing consequences far beyond the courtroom.
Another challenge is the misuse of asylum systems. Some attempt to use asylum as a backdoor to migration, while some states manipulate refugee labels for political expediency. Both undermine integrity. Our response must be balanced by establishing rigorous verification systems to prevent abuse without undermining fairness for genuine applicants.
The president also highlighted Kenya's progressive approach to refugee protection, pointing to the new Refugees Act and the Shirika Plan, which allows refugees to work, move freely, and contribute economically in host communities.
Early this year, we launched the Shirika Plan. Shirika meaning cooperation in Kiswahili, and this was spoken to by the representative of the UN. This visionary program seeks to transform refugee camps into integrated settlements, where refugees and host communities can live, work, and prosper together. It is a bold shift from encampment to empowerment.
Today, nearly 580,000 refugees and asylum seekers live in Kenya. Chief Justice Martha Koome underscored the central role of the judiciary in protecting displaced population, calling for strong, humane and transparent migration systems that uphold human dignity.
As judges, we are the custodians of justice and human rights by ensuring that laws are applied fairly, by dismantling discrimination and by protecting the vulnerable. We will be upholding the very foundations of our stable, humane and democratic societies.
UNHCR Regional Director Dr. Mamadou Diane praised Kenya for its long-standing leadership in welcoming those fleeing conflict and climate-related shocks, saying an independent judiciary remains critical in preventing exploitation and safeguarding rights.
Africa has been a leader in refugee protection, and I'm very glad and proud to say this while in Kenya, a country that has been generous to millions of refugees over the years, and a country that has courageously adopted the transformative Shirika Plan. Broadly on the continent, beyond Kenya, the 1969 OU Convention expanded the refugee definition to include those fleeing events seriously disturbing public order, a recognition of our continent's unique realities.
The conference will explore emerging challenges, including climate-induced displacement, human trafficking, migrant smuggling, artificial intelligence in judicial processes, and child asylum claims. Since 1995, the International Association of Refugee and Migration Judges World Conference has served as a platform for advancing reforms in refugee and migration law. This year's theme, protecting the integrity of the refugee and migration systems, reflects growing global urgency to strengthen the fairness and credibility of asylum systems. And now to matters education. President William Ruto now says universities must urgently adopt practical learning models and invest in self-training as Kenya prepares for the rollout of the University Competency-Based Education and Training Framework in 2029. The president says the government is committed to ensuring that institutions of higher learning, their curricula and faculty are fully equipped for the transition, which aims to provide highly skilled and competent graduates able to compete in a rapidly changing labor market, both locally and globally. Speaking at State House Nairobi, where he presided over the award of the charter to Great Star University, President Ruto noted that the institution reflects the vital role private universities continue to play in expanding access to quality education. Great Star University has so far produced more than 8,500 graduates across 13 graduation ceremonies.
But I am very confident today that 3 years down the line, we have straightened the CBC curriculum. We have brought the stakeholders on board, and in fact, we have transitioned from competence-based curriculum to competence-based education and training, what we now call CBET. There is now greater alignment, greater understanding from learners through teachers to parents. Number two, we have more or less solved the problem of teacher shortage. In the last 3 years, by next month, we will have hired 100,000 teachers, again, to close the gap on teacher shortage. And we have invested more resources, working with members of parliament, working with development partners. We have built an extra 23,000 classrooms across. And my instructions to the ministry is that now we expand laboratories by another 1,600, is it, Julius? 1,600 laboratories, especially in schools that are in remote areas. It is not right that a student comes to do an exam in a laboratory for the first time they are entering a laboratory. So it is very important that we close the gaps in those spaces. And number three, we have now changed the university funding model. Instead of focusing on the institutions, we decided to focus on the student. Now we have a student-focused university funding model so that we assess every student on the basis of merit and on the basis of ability. And therefore, it is not possible anymore to lock out any student. And we want to make it possible for all our learners to have equal access to university.
And with that, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is always 21144. We'll be right back.
Hello kids, and welcome to Kids Mind, where we learn, we laugh, and we explore. Once upon a time, there lived this beautiful, kind, and humble lady named Esther. She lived with Mordecai for a very long time until she grew as big as me. Before Esther was not named Esther. Her name was Hadassah. In our today's Bible story, I mentioned 5 characters. Who are they? Mordecai, King Xerxes, Esther, Haman, and Haggai. Esther represents me. Esther represents me.
We're going to be discussing dream chasing versus stability. Dream chasing versus stability.
Okay, dream chasing nayo ni ngumu. Juu unaweza kuwa una chase impossible dreams. But yet unaweza kuwa una chase possible dreams. So wewe tu ngangana na dream yako, one time utafika hapo.
Ukifika certain stage in life, make decisions peke yako, ndio ukiregret usikuwa na mtu wa kublame. Just go for it. Ndio kikikuuma ni wewe imeuma.
Kuramba.
Na ikiwork out pia all the best, because si kila time utafail na si kila time utasucceed, but hauwezi jua kama hujajaribu.
Mimi nitakuja hapa ni kudanganye, soft life. Hujui hiyo soft life inatoka wapi? You guys just want to fly badala you take the stairs step by step. Obviously mtu wako pale juu alianzia somewhere. You can't tell me ati kama kuna alternative utafanya, si basi wewe fanya if that's what you want. Would you rather earn less doing what you love ama earn more doing what you hate?
Mi hata sita kudanganya ati napenda kukufia nchi yangu just because of the money that is there. Si ati anapenda kukua KDF, but it's because of the money that is there.
Okay, men are not smart like women. I'm going to
true.
say that
That's
for a
true.
fact.
If
Right now,
that is true.
If me and Rachel say to pay 1 million, tupe mwaka moja, hiyo million itakuwa hata maybe 10. But if a man unashikangwa tu na kiburi, sasa ndio unavaa
everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now to the international news. Bangladesh outside Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death by a special tribunal in Dhaka for her role in a deadly crackdown on last year's student-led protest, which resulted in the deaths of hundreds of people and ultimately led to the end of a 15-year rule. The tribunal also sentenced a former Home Minister, Asaduzaman Khan, to death, while a former police chief received a 5-year prison sentence after becoming a state witness. Hasina and Khan were tried in absentia, having fled in Delhi, India, following their ouster in August 2024. The interim government, led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, has vowed to punish Hasina and banned the activity of the Awami League Party. Hasina has denounced the verdict as politically motivated and legally flawed, and the party has called for a nationwide shutdown to protest the ruling. The country remains tense, with security forces deployed across major cities ahead of the verdict and ongoing unrest in the aftermath. We'll keep him updated on that report as it develops. And now shift the focus to what's happening in Asia. Taiwan has accused China of severely impacting regional peace and stability in the ongoing dispute with Japan, which escalated after Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi suggested Tokyo could intervene militarily if China attacked Taiwan. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te criticized China's action as damaging to peace in the Asia-Pacific, urging Beijing to show restraint and behave like a responsible major power rather than a troublemaker. Lai called on China to return on rule-based international order to help maintain regional stability and prosperity, highlighting how the Beijing-Tokyo tensions have worsened the peace environment in the Indo-Pacific region. The spat was triggered by Japan's hawkish remarks on Taiwan, which Beijing sees as interference in its internal affairs, further inflaming diplomatic tensions and leading to Chinese military drills and warning against Japan.
我呼吁国际社会持续关注，也呼吁中国应该要克制，展现大国的风范，不要成为区域和平稳定的麻烦制造者，及了印太的和平稳定。我呼吁国际社会持续关注，也呼吁中国应该要克制，展现大国的风范，不要成为区域和平稳定的麻烦制造者，应该要回到 以规则为基础的国际秩序的轨道上，这样对区域的和平。
And now for sports lovers, it's time for your most favorite segment of the bulletin, the sports news. Let's get sporty. And for the sports news, the Harambee Stars are stepping up their preparations in Antalya, Turkey, as they gear up for a high-profile friendly against Senegal on Tuesday, 18th November at the Madan Stadium. The team held a training session sharpening their tactical approach and seeking a positive response after a challenging week. Kenya heads into the Senegal clash looking to bounce back from a 1-0 defeat to Equatorial Guinea in their last friendly outing. The match exposed areas that still need tightening, with the technical bench emphasizing improved concentration and execution in key moments. Now, attention shifts fully to Teranga Lions, one of Africa's most formidable sides, offering the Stars a valuable test of character and readiness. The coaching staff says the players are motivated, hungry to improve, and eager to show progress when they take to the pitch on Tuesday night. A major announcement from South Africa has put the nation firmly on the global sporting map once again. The government has officially confirmed its intention to bid for the 2036 or 2040 Olympic and Paralympic Games, a move that, if successful, will bring the world's biggest sporting event to African soil for the very first time. Officials say early discussions are already underway with the International Olympic Committee, now led by Zimbabwean Castis Coventry, and that the country will not need major new investment thanks to its existing infrastructure. That confidence echoes former IOC President Thomas Bach's 2024 comments that South Africa has the stability, vision, and the facilities needed to host an Olympics. The announcement also comes as independent groups reveal they're exploring a potential Cape Town-led bid, reviving hopes after the city's unsuccessful attempt for the 2004 Games. And of course, South Africa is no stranger to staging global events, from the Rugby World Cup in 1995 to the 2003 Cricket World Cup and the historic 2010 FIFA World Cup. And with that, you have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do again next time, same channel. My name is Susan Ngunga, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Mathenge. Have a good night.
Everywhere, GBS.